name is Nguyen. This summer I worked on a project called Endoprotectinal Synthesis and Polymerization in Dr. Javier de Alanis's Organic Chemistry Lab under the mentorship of Andres. And I'm really happy to not make it today. So when I first started at UCSB, I was really amazed by the amount of bikes that are around here. I too had a bike for a few weeks, but it was quickly stolen. Most of it was my fault because I didn't have a good lock and I lost my keys, so someone finally had access to it. In organic chemistry, we have something very similar to a lock, especially a U-lock. So this is a malamine, this is a thiol. And together, they can react through a reaction called malamine-thiol reaction. And like a lock, this reaction is very stable. It can form in very high yield under mild conditions without any harmless byproducts. And these are just two examples. You can use this reaction to attach different compounds. For example, a label to an oligonucleotide or an antibody to a drug. And we see this reaction in many applications, such as imaging technology, material sciences, fluorescent dye, and drug delivery systems. However, malamine, which is these two compounds, are very reactive, and so thiol is not the only compound that can react to it. So in order to protect this malamide, we have to have some kind of protecting mechanism, much like putting a code on a e-lock. So to protect malamide, we can react it with a compound called furan through a reaction called Gills-Alder reaction. And this reaction is good to use as a protecting mechanism because it is reversible. And when we run this reaction, we form two isomers. So isomers are just compounds that are made up of the same atoms, but they have different conformations. So you can think of it as either a closed book or an open book. So this isomer is called exo. It is the more favorable isomer, so we can easily push it to 100% exo. However, it is problematic because to reverse this reaction back to malamide and furan, we would have to heat it up to 90 to 110 degrees Celsius. And at this temperature, we would denature proteins if we want to use it in cell studies or a drug delivery system, or it would damage any heat-sensitive compound. The other compound is called the endoisomer, so you can see they are pretty much the same compound, just in different conformation. This compound is the less favorable one, so it's difficult to synthesize and purify. However, recent studies have shown that it can be deprotected at a much lower temperature, around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. And so our project wants to focus on the synthesis, purification, and scalability of the endoisomer so that we can open more applications to the malamide-thiol reaction. To synthesize the endoprotected malamide with an alcohol handle, so this just serves to post-functionalize this compound for other applications. We really only need to run one reaction. We have found a condition to favor the endo, so there's not really a way to synthesize pure endo. However, to run this reaction, we would have to buy the starting material at $250 per gram, which is really expensive. So we took a few steps back and start at a much more inexpensive starting material, which is maleic anhydride, which costs 30 cents per gram. So this is a 4-step synthesis, and it's very lengthy. We lose a lot of products along the way. We have to do a lot of purification and characterization to make sure that our product is pure. And by the end, we still get a mixture of endo and exo, mostly endo. With this method, the way to purify endo from exo is through using a column chromatography, which I will talk more about. So column chromatography is a purification technique in which you load your impure mixture into a long column filled with a polar solid, in this case silica, and the polar solid would attract the more polar compound, in this case the exo, and so it would move at a slower rate than the endo isomer. And so we would be able to separate the endo and exo and only collect the endo. This is a very simple concept, however, we can find the right solvent so that we can get good enough separation between the endo and exo because they are very similar compounds. However, this summer, we've been able to really refine our synthesis from a 4-step synthesis down to a 2-step synthesis. So we also start with something very inexpensive, which is malonide. And with this, we can shorten the length that it takes to synthesize our compound as well as increase the yield of the compound. We also get a mixture of endo and exo. However, we use a slightly different technique to purify our endo from the mixture, which is called recrystallization. And this technique, because we synthesize mostly endo, and we use a solvent that favors more the endo more, we can add some seed crystals and dissolve it in the minimum amount of solvent while heating. So when it cools down, it would become less soluble in the solvent, and it would induce the endo to recrystallize without the exo. And after that, we can just filter out the endo to leave the exo in the solution. So endo and exo are very similar. So how do we know that we actually synthesize the endo, because we can't really put it under a microscope and see that it's the endo? So we use something called MARC, or nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, and this is a proton NMR, and it would tell you the number of different hydrogens that you have in your compounds. So I labeled here the different hydrogens that I have, and through integrations we can assign each peak to each of the hydrogens. So one peak that I really want you guys to pay attention to is these 2 hydrogens. So this is the exo derivative of the protected malonide, and when you compare it to the endo, you can see that they're pretty much the same peaks with the same integrations. However, this peak has shifted quite a bit, and that is because we have the 2 hydrogens have been switched with this ring right here. So now they're in a different angle, and so when we run the NMR, we see a big shift. However, there are some other shifts that are less noticeable. And then another way that we use to characterize our compound is through the crystal structures. So we were lucky enough to get a crystal structure of the endo to compare it to the already existing exo crystal structure. And you can compare these 2 compounds. Pretty much they are made up of the same atoms, but this part right here have been switched with the hydrogens, as you can see these images. And we did that using different solvents to test out to see which one was the best condition for recrystallization. We can then take our protected malonide and further functionalize it to use in polymerizations. So polymers are just a long chain of